Now, yesterday we had the privilege of sitting down with Nori Jr. He's the president of Nori Media Group for a conversation about leadership and continuing the ministry his father faithfully built over so many decades. The funny thing is, when the interview officially ended in the studio, nobody really got up. The cameras were still there. The conversation continued, and we quickly realized that there were simply too many great insights to leave on the cutting room floor, if you want. So today we're doing something a little different. We're going to pick up right where we left off, bringing you part 2 of the conversation with Nori Jr. Let's jump back in. Last time we were talking, we were running out of time. That's one of the worst things about broadcast television. You are on a clock, a hard clock.
Hey, we know deadlines in publishing.
Well, there it is. That's the same kind of thing. And I ask you a question. I'm going to read it directly from my copy here. It says, if one person listening today is walking through the hardest season of their life, what would you want them to know? And I said, we have less than a minute. Now we have time.
So don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Don't get stuck in the middle. You have to make the step forward. You have to find out the next thing. You have to keep pushing. I can share the greatest story of procrastination that I had.
Okay.
My father turned 66. We decided we're going to have a celebration for him. Invite people from the company. He can speak to them, future generations. And he had asked me leading up to that, can you come spend an hour with me? I have something I need to talk to you about. Can't, too busy. The night of his party, can you come spend some time with me before the party? I'm sorry, I can't. After the party, sorry, I can't. The next morning, Saturday morning, sorry, I can't. I'm coaching soccer in the morning. I said, hey, you're coming to my house tomorrow afternoon. We're going to do a walkthrough for my little brother's wedding. I said, I'm going to order your favorite dinner. He called me that morning. Do you have an hour? I said, no, I'll see you this afternoon. He called me that afternoon and he said, I'm not going to make it. And I said, Mom's probably in the barn. You're just going to be late. She's always late. It's going to be okay. And he said, you don't understand. I'm not going to make it. And I just blew it off. Thought, oh, it can be just fine. Said goodbye. And he died on the way to my house. All he wanted was an hour. I procrastinated. I stayed stuck in my space. I knew I needed to talk with him, but I put it off. Don't be stuck. You're in a dark time of your life. Don't freeze. Take a step forward. Reach out. I felt like earlier this year, I was being prompted to...
How do you live the guilt of that?
You know, because I look back at how he taught me, carried me. I was very fortunate to have a father that took me with him, showed me and taught me by example, and shielded me a lot. But at the same time, made sure I had the strength to deal with what he knew I'd have to deal with in the future. Because there are skeletons in his closets that you don't always know about.
Right.
And in the midst of challenges, I say stay curious, because sometimes a skeleton's going to jump out of the closet. You have to deal with something new. So we've dealt with audits from Obama administration.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time you were on with me.
Ransomware. We dealt with going to Trump Tower in 2015. We were invited to Trump Tower when he was considering running because we got to represent Christian business. So this is great. My father and myself went. We're sitting around his big table up there on that high floor. And he's going around asking all of these Christian leaders for their input, just listening. Not telling anybody, just listening. And remember, he looked at my father and he said, what do you think about my personality publicly versus privately? And my father said, well, watching you here privately, see, you're a great listener. You really absorb and consider what everybody's saying. He said, but out there in the world, you need to be like Mean Joe Green from the Steelers. And just, because that's the way the world is. And I thought, man, that was such great advice from my father. You know, and
well, we've seen that, haven't we?
yeah. Well, you know, but even the Trump administration, we had great economic time there. But in all of the issues he was working through internationally, you know, his first administration, he had a lumber war with Canada.
Right.
You know, that's not as exciting as the war in the Middle East or Ukraine, but the lumber war in Canada all of a sudden made a paper shortage. I'm in the business of printing books. All of a sudden, I'm having to buy train loads of paper and schedule 6 months out instead of 2 weeks. It was quite a strain on business. But it's indirect. It's an indirect result of trying to do something for the betterment of the country, and I understood that. So we battled through it, and we were blessed because of that.
Wow. Let me ask you something here. You mentioned earlier, we talked about your company's experienced challenges that would have ended many businesses. Did those moments ever make you question your calling or what you were doing?
You know, there are times when I don't want to do it anymore. You know, it gets lonely. If all your friends work for you, you don't have any friends. They're acquaintances. And you have like beliefs. And I want to make sure that everybody is taken care of. But it gets hard because you can't share with everybody the difficulties.
Right.
They can't always handle them. Even people are like, give it to me. Just, you need to vent, put it on me. And so I put it on them. They'll reach a point where they'll say, I can't take it from you anymore. If you keep sharing the stuff with me, I can't do it.
A lot of pastors go through that because who do you talk to? You know, you talk to another pastor, sometimes other pastors are competitors, you know, they're not your true friends, and then you can't talk to anyone in the congregation. So it's a little bit, I believe, like that. How do you recognize a manuscript that has the potential to impact generations rather than just sell copies of books? Because in the short times I've been around you, I sense you're not about, I mean, of course you got to sell books because that's the bottom line, but you're not so much about just signing an author and selling books. You're about impacting a generation. Am I wrong?
Not at all. Not wrong at all.
So how do you recognize a book or an author or a thing that has the potential to change things?
I ask a question all the time when we're considering books. What is this going to do for the reader? What is this message going to do? Because a lot of people write books, and they write them for themselves. They're meant to document something, or maybe they're meant to teach something. But what is this book going to do for the reader? Because if you can find that reason that this is going to impact somebody's life, then all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's probably more than just that one person out there this could impact. And that's the key, is finding what is it going to do for the reader? How is it going to impact the life? Because that can scale.
Right. What mistakes do first-time authors, what are they usually wrong about? What do they usually make a mistake on, or the biggest mistake a Christian author makes?
They think that getting a book published is going to make them famous.
It's wrong motivation.
Or make them a lot of money. A book is a tool. It's kind of like a business card anymore. You know, people can make a video with their phone and put it on YouTube. Publishing your own book's almost that easy.
Yeah, you go to.
I teach part-time at our local university. It keeps me sharp. I do strategic management and entrepreneurship. Each semester, I just do a couple of classes. And one of the assignments for the past year has been 10 steps to publish your own book on Amazon. Now, they make terrible books, but they get something done. And it's to show them, if you have a community, if you have a need for a book, you can publish your own book. A publisher is supposed to connect you to the broader network help give you exposure. And I like to explain it to Andrew Womack. You already have a giant field that you're serving for your ministry.
Right.
I want to come in as a publisher and plow some extra lines around that field to help you reach more people, reach more partners with the message.
A lot of people don't realize, the Apostle Paul wrote the New Testament, or books. I mean, that's what he wrote. He wrote to his partners. He wrote to the churches to instruct them, to correct them, to help them. And then I realized over the book of Revelation, Jesus wrote a book. That book of Revelation is him. He wrote these letters to these churches for the same purpose and the same reason. So you got a pastor out here that says, man, I would love to be in your class so that you could help me write an Amazon book. What do you say to some guy? Because, that pastor that has a message and they want to expand it further for the right reasons, not what you expressed a moment ago.
I think probably most pastors need to get their content into book form, but most pastors don't need a publisher to do it.
Okay.
If you can publish a resource for your community, for your church, then from there, it's, again, you have a message that's meeting a need. Can this message meet a broader need? Right? And as exposure grows, that message grows in its reach. And then you may reach a point where I need to partner with a publisher because I need the opportunity for their publicist to book me on Unclassified. How do you get into the network of other like authors and distribution system that can help that message go further, reach more people that do need it?
All right. Don, let me ask you something. Who is Don Nori and what's next? Where are you headed?
Well, if you would have asked me 6 years ago in 2020, I would have said, I just need to survive. Because we had a great year coming off of a pandemic. I'm going to start there. It's not quite birth, but can I have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Pandemic happened, and the Lord taught me how to use all of the remote teaching apparatus because I was involved with the university. I learned how to use Zoom and all of these tools that we implemented at our offices. So when the pandemic hit, we were already set to work remotely. Well, we didn't send any employees home because as a publisher, we counted it as a media company. So we stayed open. We had the worst 2 months in our history financially. But because of the anointing on our people, being able to figure out how to pivot, 2020 became one of our most successful financial years in the second half. Election year, a lot of our authors promoting prophetic words and things about the election. Greg, we were generating tens of thousands of dollars a month on YouTube by sharing our authors' videos. And it was great. But as soon as Biden won the election, the new Department of Justice instituted cancel culture with conservative groups, Christian groups. YouTube deleted thousands of our videos, demonetized us where we were making nothing. Facebook, Meta, throttled our marketing down to nothing. Same thing they did to RFK. Amazon Prime Video, we had a channel on Amazon Prime Video. We were just starting building subscriptions. Cut it off. So we experienced cancel. Again, we thought we were arm's length, but we're just sharing what our authors are saying. Oh, you get canceled by association. So I thought, I got to overcome this. And so my goal then was to build up an organization that could last, because every book that I touch in my life, I want to know that 400 years from now, I don't know where that number came from, but the Lord gave it to me. 400 years from now, whatever Amazon or TikTok exists at that time, Greg, somebody's going to be able to find your book because it's still going to be in existence. It's still going to matter. That is my goal. And I only have 19 years to do it. You see, my grandfather passed away at 66. My father passed away at 66. And I learned a little over a year ago that I have the same genetic condition. And so I realize at 47, unless a treatment comes out, I need to make sure that I can accomplish that goal in the next 19 years. To make sure that these messages that I've touched in my lifetime can reach for hundreds.
Well, I'm going to do something right here that I've never done on Unclassified and with a guest. I am going to share with you, I agree with you to prepare and to plan and to pursue that timeline. But I know the creator of the genetics. And I know the one who controls the genetics. And I know the one who orders your genetics. And his name is Jesus. And he can change that pattern in you. And my prayer now, Don, and I'll pray for you every single day, is that you don't hold that pattern, that you surpass that pattern, and you live long. With long life will I satisfy thee. Is what he said. And that's my prayer for you, that with long life, you're going to stay, I'm going to say it this way, you're going to stay until you're satisfied. And if you're satisfied at 66, great, go home. But if you're not satisfied at 66, I expect to see you still going and still producing books and still changing lives with the Nori Media Group. All right? Can I pray that for you? Will you be all right with that if every day that becomes my prayer for you?
I receive that. And that sounds very similar to something that Jerry Falwell Sr. told me when I was going to publish Elmer Towns, one of the co-founders of Liberty University. He said, you need to publish every book he has to publish before he dies. And I promised him I'd do that. He passed away not long after that. Elmer Towns, he's still sending me books, right? He's in his 90s. So you just spoke over me. I can't leave until it's finished. I just need to keep giving myself more things to do.
I agree.
I'm never going to be finished, Greg.
I'm going to keep giving them to you too. I'm going to write a manuscript every single year and give it to you so that you stay here, because we need you. The world needs you. And I watched Brother Hagin pray that kind of prayer. He would do an intercessory prayer. This is so different from our normal program right now, but this is for somebody as well. He would pray that with long life will I satisfy you. The number of your days you will fulfill. And he would say, I'm not satisfied yet. There's still more than I need to do. And he would begin to pursue that. And that's what I'm going to do concerning you. That's what you need to do. What he talked about is being stuck on Friday. That's what I call it, where Mary was stooped over looking into the grave where they buried Jesus, and she gets a word behind her. It was Jesus. She didn't recognize him because he's not like he was before. She was still stuck on the bad thing that happened on that day. And I think so many of you believers, sometimes we all do it. I've done it. We get stuck on Friday. We have to turn around and look at the resurrection. Yeah, what happened on Friday was bad, but it's Sunday now. It's Sunday, baby. And we're coming out of this thing, and we're coming out resurrected and strong. So Don, I pray for you every day for strength, and that genetics loses this time, and you're here for a long time.
I receive it in Jesus' name.
All right, Don, thank you so much. You too. Pray that for you as well. Don, thank you so much for being with us. To learn more about Don, explore Nori Media Group's latest book releases and discover resources that will strengthen your faith, be sure to visit the Nori Media Group website. Don't forget to follow him on his social media channels, where he regularly shares biblical insights, ministry updates, and the latest projects coming from the Nori Media Group. Don, again, thank you so much. I'm honored. You're welcome back here anytime you can make it.